We just survived another weekend of chaotic war zones in Battlefield 6's open beta. Last time we covered the good, the bad, and overall we came away impressed. Well, guess what? Week 2 just wrapped up and, well, we're going to be covering both the good and the bad again. We have a new map, a new mode, as well as some weapon balance fixes, kind of, and some issues as well. So hang tight because we're going to cover all of it, and I'm also going to go over my final thoughts on where Battlefield 6 stands with me personally. All news article source for this video will be linked down in the description below. Like, sub, do all the YouTube stuff. Let's get into it. Alright, so DICE definitely delivered with some fresh content. This weekend we finally got our hands on a brand new map called Empire State, and visually it's super cool. It offers a different vibe from the first batch of maps that we got in last week's test. But the real hype was around a game mode, the return of a classic mode called Rush. So many of you were asking for it, and DICE was listening, so they delivered, kind of. More on that in just a moment. They also threw in some other playlists into the action, including a rotating all-out warfare playlist, which shuffles between Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush. Honestly, this was my favorite way to play, with closed weapons, of course. Plus, they also gave players a custom search feature, which lets you prioritize certain maps and game modes. This seems like the first steps towards a proper server browser, maybe? Though I think I did see that an official statement was made that a server browser was planned for the future of Battlefield 6, so maybe one of you guys can confirm that down in the comments for me. Anyhow, let's talk about Rush for a moment here. Like I said, this was a return of a classic game mode to Battlefield 6, but honestly, I had a fun time playing this mode. It was super chaotic and wild, but a lot of the community feedback I'm seeing is they're not really having fun with it. The general consensus seems to be that the maps feel way too small for Rush, and with the player counts in the game mode, it just feels like games devolve into absolute chaos, meat grinder sort of situations, and tactical play sort of goes out the window. And a major point of frustration was that there's no persistent servers for this mode, meaning when you play a game, you've got a defending team and an offense team, and you only play one round, whereas in the classic modes, the classic iterations of this game mode, teams would switch sides, so you would have multiple rounds, and that's completely missing here. So hopefully the devs are listening and they do plan on adding more rounds to that game mode. It kind of sucks when you're playing offense on the first round and you lose, but you don't get an opportunity to swap sides and play defense. Anyhow, now after the first beta weekend, DICE responded to the community addressing some of the bigger complaints. They said they were looking into time to kill and that super bullet bug that was making everyone drop dead instantly. They also confirmed a balance pass on the M87A1 shotgun, which is a goddamn railgun, and I even complained about it in my last video. The devs actually had stated that they had nerfed that gun internally. And look, I do appreciate the communication, I really do, but here's the thing. None of these promised fixes were actually in this public beta build. So the fast TTK, or time to kill, it's still there. That overpowered shotgun that I love, yeah, it's still deleting players, and I get it, it's a beta, but it can be a little frustrating at times, especially that shotgun again. The devs have told us they were working on it, and they even had a fix in an internal build, but we didn't get to see those changes in action. But get this, there was one thing that DICE did react to immediately. Players jumped into Rush and pretty much instantly said the MCOM timer of 45 seconds was way too long. And kudos to the team. DICE actually pushed out a live change during this open beta weekend, and they reduced the timer down to 30 seconds. And that kind of quick response is what we like to see as players. We just need to see it for the shotgun or that time to kill. Now, let me add to this comment. As someone who used to work in the games industry, there are certain changes and fixes that can be made with little to low risk to a live service game, which is easier to push out in a live setting, which is what Battlefield 6 is sort of striving to be. I have a feeling that they're still making some changes or adjustments to the shotgun and even the time to kill within a testing environment, and it's just not quite ready to go live. Now, let's get into the technical issues of this new beta weekend. While some players reported a slightly smoother experience overall, the second beta weekend brought a whole new wave of technical issues. Now, my personal experience overall were very stable. I only had a couple of graphical issues, though there was one bug, I guess, that made me a little upset, and DLSS was missing from the graphics options, and more on that in a bit. But players were reporting extremely long matchmaking queues, and if you actually managed to get into a match with friends, sometimes the party system would break for a lot of people, making it a nightmare to squad up. And to make matters worse, players were frequently disconnected, getting the error message, game locked, that would just prevent you from joining any matches at all. Nothing says fun gaming weekend like staring at an error message, right? And this one I took personally. Two key graphic technologies for PC players are DLSS and DLAA. They were nowhere to be found on the first day of this weekend's playtest. They were there last weekend. What happened? Now, this was patched on the second day of the beta weekend, which I'm happy to see DICE get on that real quickly and fix it. It wasn't like a big deal. I resorted to using FSR for the first day, but I can't stress enough that DLSS provides a much cleaner result when it comes to resolution upscaling technologies. Granted, you own an NVIDIA graphics card. So what's the verdict on the second week of Battlefield 6's open beta? Well, it's kind of a mixed bag again, but overall, I would say that it was very successful. While the new map and the new game mode, Rush, were initially exciting, the execution left a lot to be desired. The ongoing core gameplay concerns weren't addressed in the public build, and we got a whole new set of technical issues to deal with. And yes, like I said earlier, it's a beta, I get it, but this is what it's for, to find these issues and get feedback. And DICE is being somewhat responsive, but with the release date coming up in October, these persistent problems and the emergence of new ones definitely raises some concerns for potential players. But look, for me personally, I had a great time. Bugs and balance issues aside, this is the only online shooter I've been excited to play in a long time. I've even been staying up way past my bedtime, and that's a big deal when you're an old gamer like me. The first weekend I played mostly on my own, but this weekend I had the chance to mostly play with my friends. We had a blast squatting up, and amongst my circle of gaming buddies, we're all very excited for Battlefield 6. I've heard a lot of praise, even from some of my friends who are more diehard fans of the Battlefield franchise, saying that this is a return to form. It feels like the older Battlefields, and it's been great. But there is one more thing I want to mention, and it's something I see come up a lot in online discussions around Battlefield 6, that it feels chaotic. To me, though, I feel like this is what makes it feel distinct from its contemporaries like Call of Duty or any other shooter within a similar genre. I think as we play more, it won't feel as chaotic, and strategies and metas will form, whether we like metas or not. But I do think that Battlefield 6 has a bright future. Something else that I want to point out is that we actually have some data on Steam sales. Battlefield 6 has already sold 605,000 copies on Steam, and this comes from the analytics firm Alinea Analytics. Additionally, it has 2.7 million wish lists via Steam at the time of the recording of this video. These are strong numbers, and it only paints a small portion of Battlefield 6's success so far just on the PC platform. That doesn't include Xbox, PlayStation. I think it is safe to say that even with all of these issues and criticisms we're providing to DICE, we are all generally hyped to get back out there and enjoy this return to form in Battlefield 6. What were your experiences in the second weekend of this open beta? Were you enjoying the new content despite all of the issues? Maybe you were pulling your hair out dealing with all these shotgun deaths. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read your experiences with the Battlefield 6 open beta. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for more great gaming content. And if you'd like to watch more content from this channel, check out this recommended video right here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.